Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of Conversations with Coach IT. I trust that you had an amazing week, and that you're all refreshed and doing great. Today, on today's episode, we have an amazing guest. So, yes, I use the word amazing today. I know I use special every other week, but yes, we have an amazing guest today. And she's going to be introducing herself shortly, and we're going to be having a very interesting topic. We're going to be discussing a very interesting topic today, discovering purpose. And I know that this is one topic that a lot of young people ask me questions around. So, Coach Aite, how do I find purpose? What does purpose mean? How do I know that I'm working in purpose? And just all of those, many questions. And we have in the house today one young person that is doing such phenomenal work, right? And I can categorically say that she's working in purpose and also helping other young people herself to do the same. So without further ado, let's jump right into this conversation. Thank you so much, Dasola, for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Okay, so can you do, an introduction of yourself, what you do, and just a little bit of good stuff.
Hi everyone, it's so good to be here. Thank you, Ma, for inviting me. It's a privilege. My name is Dr Alfred, as she said. I am many things to different people at different points in time. I am a student nurse. I'm a nurse in training. I am a fashion designer. I also like to help them live life and to drag out every potential that God has put inside of them. Yes, I think that's short. And I'm a young girl in my early 20s that is doing all that God has, not all, like working in line of purpose
When you say young girl, you're not 16 again, madam.
is the
Even
most
10 years
important
old,
thing
I'm
in
not
my life.
exactly girl.
I'm a young girl.
Right, you're right. So good to have you here, Dasola. And we're basically going to be gisting through to this topic, discovering purpose, right? And I must say that I'm
Yes.
particularly fascinated by, your work and, the fact that you're a young person and you're doing such phenomenal work. At the end of the episode, I'll allow you to talk about how, other young people can connect with you and connect with the work that you do. But before we even get to that point, can you tell us, a bit of the things that you do, like in line with purpose? Okay, before we even get into that, what would you say purpose means? What does it mean to, discover purpose? What does purpose mean in itself before we now get to discovering purpose?
All right. So, purpose to me is, I would say, is um, fulfilling God's mind at different points in time. So, yeah, purpose is all about God to me. Purpose is all about doing, of course, first, God created us for a reason, which is
Mm,
something to look into. So, what's now that reason? Your purpose is the reason why God created you. And I
mm,
believe that purpose is not something that you are going to accomplish in the future. It's in your everyday, every minute, every hour work. So
mm,
at this in the next hour, God can place me in the midst of some friends. And then I'm like, God, what do you want me? Why am I here? What do you want me to do here? You know, that's purpose for me. Also,
mm.
Second Corinthians 5:20, which is a picture for me. It talks about how that we are the ambassador of Christ here on earth. So it just shows vividly that God created us for a reason. So that's what I
Right.
would say purpose is.
Mm.
Different says,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful. That's so beautiful. And I like the part where you said that purpose is in your everyday life, is in what you do every day. And that's so important, so that with young people don't get to continue waiting for that time when purpose will happen.
Yeah.
Or do you understand? Or when they will step into that purpose. So purpose is in your everyday life. So Dasola, take us through your own journey. I know you started quite early, so start from the main just go back memory lane and just take us through your own journey. How did you get into purpose? How did you know that what you're doing at the moment is what you're supposed to be doing, right? Were there confirmations you got, just nuggets and tips and all of those things in between, and how the journey has been so far?
Okay, so knowledge here is is very important. So first, um, I really started my life before I actually knew that I was fulfilling purpose for like after living on earth, like you're doing different things, you're fulfilling God's purpose literally. But now knowing that this is what it is now makes you more intentional in what you're doing. So let me start from when I finished secondary school. So I graduated from secondary school in 2016 or 17. I remember. But after then, I was trying to get into school and it wasn't working out. And I stayed at home for like 3, 4 years. And at that moment, leaving secondary school, I wanted to always ball with my friends and have good time. But my father wasn't even letting me. So he told me to go and learn fashion designing from one of my. I wanted to be a makeup artist too, but there was no money to like learn makeup. That time raining, yeah.
You
And
want to tell your
the
parents that
order
you want to
started
be
like
makeup
50K.
artist?
I want to be a makeup artist. In fact, when I was in secondary school, I already started in the house called I would do makeup for people and collect like 1,000 naira. At least the little
Wow.
that I could do. So I
Wow.
wanted
So
to
why
do
didn't
that
you
after
pursue it?
secondary
So why didn't you pursue your makeup thing?
school. My mommy don't have my own ticket to pay anybody. So I had an aunt, yeah, that was a fashion designer, and one day my dad just sent me to her place that go and learn fashion designer with Motun direct, fashion designing with Motun. I was like, I'm not interested in all these things. I cannot sit down one place and be pressing machine.
Body did not
But I
calm
shall
down
see
like that.
when. I shall see when too. I went there and then I sat down for you to know how eager I was.
Mm,
And I don't know where this business orientation thing came from. I feel like it jumped on me or Jesus just put it inside of me.
just dashed you.
And then she taught me how to make a cape top. I mean, one very simple flay. And I was like, it's very, very simple now. So
Mm,
immediately I made it and sent it to my mom. So my mom was always, you can sell this thing, sell it 1,000, sell it 1,500. And then I would design it, put bow there. I wasn't really good at what I was doing, but she was assisting me. Even though I didn't know how to cut it, she would cut one for me, then I'll use one to cut plenty. So I'll
wow.
make it, I'll sell it.
Pattern
Somebody
draft.
introduced me to,
Mm,
yeah, online marketing. Somebody introduced me to online marketing. I'll put it there, I'll sell it.
mm-hmm,
And people were buying, I mean, people were coming to know me and all of that. I was like,
mm,
this is a good thing, though. Let me stay and learn more. So
mm,
I stayed with her for extra 2 months,
mm,
and at a point I left. I found another friend that was a fashion designer, and then she was modern. So my auntie wasn't really modern at that point in time. So I joined that one, and then started telling people. Like I became passionate about the thing that I was doing. So I
oh,
think that was the first step for me to like be exposed.
mm,
And then along the way, I found a church, a group of teenage people in a church, and then I joined the church. I saw that what I was doing was common amongst those people. And I
mm,
think there and then I learned about offering value.
right.
Thinking about everything now like accumulate all the knowledge I have about purpose, that
Mm-hmm,
you have been fulfilling purpose from where you came. So I actually believe that even the day that our parents gave birth to us, it was like a purpose fulfilling time. Like you have to come. You
mm.
have to come and fulfill a purpose of being a children to these people. So like it traces down purpose being in our everyday work. So purpose is offering value also. I need to say that purpose is offering value to different people. So I was offering value at that point in time. I shifted it from just doing business to okay, people need to wear clothes. Clothes is essential. Let me make clothes for people, let them wear. So I taught myself to not be money oriented, but to be focused on the value I was offering,
Mm,
which now led me to like today one of the reasons why I coach teenagers is because there's something that I have that I can put out there that some people don't know that I can put out there for them to know. I can offer value to make their lives better.
mm.
I think that
Wow.
was
Oh, that's like you've not finished. You've not finished, the
my
taking us through the journey up until this point. But it's okay.
okay up until
Even with what the things that you said, right? I've been able to bring out some cogent things. I mean, you talked about first what you thought was your passion in secondary school, something you were very passionate about, makeup, right? And there were some limitations that
Yeah.
didn't allow you to pursue that, and you didn't allow those limitations to hold you back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you maximized the
Yeah.
next opportunity that came to you. You learned a new skill, fashion designing, right? And from fashion
Mm-hmm.
designing, you developed a passion. So you've talked about skill, you've talked about passion, you've talked about, how that brought you into purpose. You've talked about offering values, as in the short time that you said, you see all of the things that you mentioned. You also talked about, not being money oriented and being value oriented. And
Yeah.
those things are just so good. Another thing that I picked out of your story is the fact that you had encouragement and you had support, even if the old picture wasn't full blown, and you didn't have like you didn't have like the entire picture of what you were doing, and you didn't even know at the time that you were fulfilling purpose to an extent, right? And that is just so interesting to know, the fact that as young people you might be very interested in something in secondary school and you might be having some challenges in pursuing it. Sometimes you might even feel, oh, this is what you're called to do and this is your purpose and all of. I'm sure that today, if you want to pursue your desire, if I can call it that, in for being a makeup artist, you can. I mean, you can comfortably pursue that now if you want to, right? So there are many young people that say, oh, this is what they want to do, maybe in secondary school or even as a young adult, but they either don't have the means or there are certain limitations and all of that, and they just sit back and say, if the only thing that I want to do is not working out, then I might as well just chill and all that. But the other angle to it is maximizing the opportunities that are available to you, other opportunities that are available to you. In your own case, you went to learn another skill that sort of brought that exposure, the right exposure to you, and you started interacting, and it was sort of instrumental into how you got into purpose, right? And that is just so profound, right? That's so profound. So like I said,
Yeah.
you did not finish that gist. So from the point where you joined the church, joined other teenagers and you started offering value, and and then the journey into becoming a young adult and also thinking, oh yeah, there are things that I can also offer young people, right? There are things I can also offer like teenagers and all of those things. That journey into now getting to know that this is what you should be doing. You could have decided to opt for, like you said, you're a nurse or you're a student nurse. You could have decided to just focus on nursing, right? Or maybe
Yeah.
gone back to makeup artistry or something. So at what point did you know that, okay, this is what you were to be doing, you were to focus on this? At what point did you know that coaching teenagers, in your case, is what you were to focus on?
Okay. So I would say that in finding purpose for your life,
Mm,
you need to pay attention to some certain things that God has put. So
mm,
Bible talks in book of Genesis 1, Bible talks about how he created man, and it says he blessed man. He told them to be fruitful and they should multiply. The
mm,
only reason why I'll tell you to be fruitful and multiply is because I put something inside of you. I've sowed a seed inside of you that can multiply, that has ripple effect. I was about to say praise God. Okay,
you're a
so
Jesus girl through and through. We're Jesus girls. It's okay. Please continue.
okay, so
Mm,
yeah. So God put all of those things inside of you. You need to pay attention to the things that God put inside of you as an
mm,
individual. Like God has put, one of the things that I say to myself or God has made me see about myself is that I am a potential dragger. Like I
mm,
in an individual, no matter if you think you look ugly, there's so much that God has put inside of you. And
mm.
that thing is for the world to see, for you to use to
Right.
shine the light of God all around. And the ultimate thing about purpose is to bring men into reconciliation with God. Like purpose is about people, and like I said earlier, purpose is about God. So
Mm,
everything is about people. Yeah. So yeah,
mm,
like as I was saying, before I lost my line of thought. There's so much that God has put service, which
mm,
we actually need to be
mm,
conscious of. So yeah, there are talents, there are gifts, different things. I mean, one of the things that helped me in my journey was that I love to network with people. Like I love talking to people, and I know that I didn't see it as just an ordinary thing. There are people that call themselves introverts. I don't believe in all those introverts, extroverts. I'm like, when whatever place I find myself, even if I'm an introvert, God can desire that I become an extrovert at that point in time, because I have to do something for Him, which is the purpose, which is one of the purpose in my life journey.
Mm.
Yeah, so I would say, like, before I started coaching teenagers, I knew that first there was a burden. I mean, intimacy will bring you to purpose. Intimacy with God will bring you into purpose also. So
Mm.
there were some things in my life, and another thing is that there were stories I had in my secondary school. There were things that I went through when I was in secondary school that I was like, I don't want another person to experience this. I don't want young adults growing up to experience this same thing that I experienced secondary school. If I had mentors, if I had spiritual leaders that I could talk to, maybe it would be better. So I
A
thought
better
about it, and
experience.
I was like, and I also need to add, God will not always wake you up from sleep and say, my daughter, I want you to coach teenagers, or I want. Sometimes, like, you have to sit down and think with God, like, these things happen to me. How can I cope this? Which is also purpose. I mean, you have the mind of Christ. It's Christ that is implanting those ideas inside your head. Like I said, intimacy will bring you to purpose. So one of the things that led me to coaching teenagers first was discipleship. I saw the need for discipleship because I had this at a point in my life, and I saw how much it helped me. So I
Mm.
just looked at my life. God didn't wake me up from sleep and say teenagers. I checked all of those things. He came to my spirit, and I asked God, well, I mean, I coached teenagers for 2 years privately. I did not say anything to anybody. I just, like, there were some people that just come and meet me randomly. I made
Mm.
use of that moment. Like, I was
Mm.
like, okay, people actually confirm that I have this kind of gift. I can talk to people well. I can advise people well. I can. One of the things I want to do this year by the grace of God is to, like, open a counseling team where I get to counsel a lot of teenagers on different issues that they are going through. For
Mm.
example, now this year I also saw how much God was able to help me in my Bible study life. I need
Mm.
to teach somebody so they can just be better. Yeah. So where was I? Where was I in the first place? I
Should I
forgot
take you
it.
back to the point where you said that God plants a seed in you for a reason?
Yes.
That
So
stood
there
out
are
for me.
different things. Yeah, there are different talents. There are different things that you can do. Some people can sing very well, and
Mm.
sing for Jesus. That's your primary purpose.
Mm.
You don't have to sing Davido. You don't have to sing worldly songs or any type of
Shaking
song
tables and shattering tables.
to like for your validation. Yeah, if you
Mm.
are a Jesus girl, stand only for Jesus. It's Jesus that brought you to this earth. It's Jesus that put everything that is. It's Jesus that gave you that voice. So use it for Jesus. Like I said, purpose is multiplying the kingdom of God. It's your ultimate. So it's your ultimate. It's the ultimate reason why you're on earth. So yeah, like I said, I paid attention to the things that I saw that was inside of me, my talents, my gifts, everything that I had.
Mm.
God gave me. I believe that God put them inside of me, and one of the ways I'll multiply it is by using it for God.
Mm.
Using it
Mm.
to invite people to see what God has. Bible says that can a man light? I don't know whether it's a man. Paraphrasing now. Can somebody light candle and put it under the table? He says no. You
Mm.
put it on the table so that it can shine and everybody is going to see it.
Mm.
So yeah, that light that God has, yeah, the light that the candle that God has lighted, and He put it on the table that everybody see that solar. So through that light, that solar can sing, and I'm going to sing for Jesus. Through that light, that solar likes to talk. I said every time I like to talk. Like, you cannot just get me in a conversation about Jesus or about anything, and I know so much about it. We will not finish from that place. I must tell you everything that I know, even though I don't feel like it's so correct.
Mm.
So, like, another thing is that make use of moments.
Right.
Yeah. So moments are actually times for you to use to show God's gift inside of you.
Mm.
Sometimes when I see people, I'll be like, I'm a fashion designer, and people were amazed that I used to do a lot of things at the same time. So for instance, now I was a fashion designer. At the same time, I said I was doing graphic designing. At the same time, I told my mom I want to go and learn shoemaking. Like, I just knew that at some point I was like, I cannot balance all these things together. But I knew that there's so much inside of me, and I have to just give it to the world, whatever I can do. So I think I don't know if I answered that.
Yeah, so I mean, you touched in some way on, how you got to know that this is purpose for you and this is what you should be doing, right? And I like how you brought in the issue of skills and talents and your giftings, and also how that some many times you don't wait to hear the loud voice or the still small voice, my daughter, it is time to do this. Sometimes, just make yourself available to God and make yourself useful. Determine to partner with God, with your talent and with your giftings. And one thing that I like to tell young people many times is, when you think about the many years by God's grace that you are here on earth to live, you know that your coming to the world is beyond you sleeping, waking up, um
Mm-hmm.
making money, all those, what else, having friends, hanging out, all those. I mean, somewhere along the line you would enjoy those things, but it cannot be the core reason, right? It cannot be the major reason. God has a purpose for everyone. However, it is the way to discovering the purpose that is not the thing. And what he said just reminds me of the story of the talents in the Bible. How one had one talent and buried it, how another one had two talents and multiplied it, had five talents and multiplied like that. So I think it's also um bringing out the talents in you and really developing it, right? Developing it and using it to serve the world. I think one major word in discovering purpose is service. So having like a service mentality, the fact that you want to be a blessing to people you want to serve. And I like, you said something while you were talking. You said you developed passion after you had learned, or while you were learning fashion designing, you developed the passion for it, and that what you thought about was, people need to wear clothes, right? People shall not walk naked. People need
Yeah.
to wear clothes, right? And that you would use the skill that you've learned, or the talent that you've learned, or that the talent you have, sorry, or the skill that you've learned, you would use it to, provide a solution, or you use it to, you used to prefer a solution, yeah, to that problem, the problem of clothing and all of that, and just make. So you took your eyes off the, oh, I just have a skill for, I have a skill for having sake, or it's just something I like to do to pass time. It would have been a different thing if you're making clothes for yourself, or maybe your speaking skills, you decided to maybe use it to do something that is serving you alone. Rather, you looked outside and said, these things that I
Yeah.
have, these talents, these gifts that I have, how can it serve the world, right? And I think that's a major navigator when it comes to discovering purpose.
Or just for money's sake. As some people say, let me just
Exactly.
make money now.
Exactly. So it's beyond money, right? It's beyond money. It's also wanting to be a problem solver and be a solution provider to the world, right? And your purpose can
Yeah.
come in any form. You can serve a purpose with your skills, with your giftings, with your talents. Just make sure that you're partnering with God and it's in line with what God would have you, do. It's in line with the assignments that you have on earth, right? Another thing that I want us to talk about, Dasola, I want to believe that the point where you now realize that, okay, maybe coaching teenagers is what you should be doing. You decided to use your speaking gifts. You decided to use, your experiences to teach other young people. At the point where where you realize that, okay, this is what I should be doing. I want to believe that you are not the same person now as you were then.
Mhm.
So I like us to touch on developing your giftings or your skills or your talent, or basically growing in the course of
Yeah.
fulfilling purpose, right? Growing in the course of fulfilling purpose. So how was that for you? Like what were like growth curves that you had? What were things that you had to learn? What were the things that you had to do at the point where you discovered that, okay, this is what I should be doing? What were some things that you had to do to, set you on that path and help you on that journey to, fulfilling purpose?
All right. Thank you. So one of the first things that I would like to see as you were asking this question was that, like I said earlier, first is that you have to be intimate with God. You have to be led before doing anything at all. even though you have recognized these things inside of you. If God doesn't say go yet, then don't go.
mm,
So that was the first thing I had to hold on to. So secondly, many of these gifts and talents and all of that, like recognizing that they are there is good, and now developing it is now great. So I knew that I like to talk. I knew that for some very good reasons, I would like to speak in front of a lot of people. So I will go to camp and then they will ask who's interested in learning more about public speaking. And I'll be like, I'm interested. I wanted to know, like, I wanted to know more about it. So there they will teach us how to stand when you're speaking, how to talk, how to compose yourself.
mm,
So fast forward to 2020, I, because 2020 was when I think I was working towards publicizing the whole coaching stuff. I had
mm,
to pay like I was planning to pay like 10,000 naira to attend the build your camera conference. Also, when I wanted to start doing YouTube, because I do YouTube too. So when I wanted to do that, I'm like, I have to give this to my best shot. So one of the things that I got at excellence, I've learned it over time.
sure,
So
sure.
whilst you have all these things, you don't just do it anyhow. Learn how to give it at its best, because all of scripture talks about how God is an orderly God. Like
Mm,
God wants to bless you, you cannot just do it anyhow. God blesses you to the core.
mm,
All right. So like you said, it's important to develop these things that God has put inside of you. So
mm,
I was planning that I was going to pay for that class, and God having it, the person that was handling the class was like, I should come and do it for free. And then
mm,
she was like, she gave me, but I think I was the most consistent in that class.
mm,
So whatever it takes that you are going to use to deliver God's gift inside of you, God's talent inside of you, whatever it takes that you are going to deliver it excellently is
mm,
is what you should do. And also remember what I said, be led, be intimate with God. Is there an intimate relationship with God? God is one that will tell you when to go. God is one that will tell you don't do it yet. God is one that will tell you this is the platform that you should do it with. Because I mean, he knows already before you had even started this. So move with God, yeah, dream with God, best that vision with God, and stay with God. Most importantly.
mm. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm still going to sort of drag you back into, that
Okay.
question again. But let me take it from another angle. I want you to also touch on the place of acquiring knowledge, going for knowledge, and also having some form of guidance from other people that have been on the same journey as you want to embark on, right? So say a person feels like, oh, my purpose or what I'm called to do is to function in the makeup industry. You get something like that. So that place of grooming yourself, that place of acquiring knowledge, and getting people to guide you on that journey, maybe people that have gone on that same journey, or maybe not even on that exact journey, but people that have gone ahead of you, right, to give you some form of guidance. What would you say? Did you invest in those sort of things, and how did that play out for you in fulfilling purpose? I mean, walking in line of
Thank you for
purpose.
reminding us about. Yeah, thank you for reminding us about that. Because actually very important in developing your skills
Mm,
or developing anything that will lead you to fulfilling purpose. You need, I mean, you need mentors and leaders around you. So at first, like I said, I couldn't learn fashion designing alone. I can't just learn it overnight like that. Somebody had to teach me. I had
mm,
to submit to somebody to teach me.
mm,
So I, even when I felt like it wasn't too modern enough for me, I found another person. I just knew that I always had to be under somebody. I can't do it alone. You can't do it alone.
mm,
And most importantly, somebody that has gone ahead of you. Even in my spiritual work, yeah, as I mean, I was 16 as at that time when I was learning fashion designing. Or be when I learned fashion designing. Even in my spiritual work, I will look for, like, there were people that were all around me, and I cherish them so much because these people have gone ahead of me.
mm,
And the Bible even talks about in Ephesians 3 or 4, where it says that to some he gave pastors, prophets, teachers, and all of that. The next verse now says, for the equipping of the saints, so that they no longer become babies. Yeah. So there's a point of growth, and growth will only come in whatever thing you are doing by being under people, placing yourself under people, I mean, Bible talks about how Apostle Paul learned under one of the greatest teachers of the world at that point in time. So it just shows that mentorship, leadership, everything is important in our life. So for me to, but then I have a question, Coach Icy. Um, sorry to cut you
Okay.
short. Some people usually say that for example now I coach teenagers, I'm a team coach, and my mentor, does she necessarily have to be a team coach?
No, she doesn't have to. Clearly, she doesn't have to. So the thing about mentorship is that basically what you get out of mentorship is that you learn from the experiences of others. You know that saying that they say experience is the best teacher. It doesn't necessarily have to be your own experience. You don't want to get into a bad
Yes.
experience to learn, right? So you want to be taught by people that have gone on that, people that have advanced in life, right? People that have garnered some form of experience, people that they can give you, that they can give you wise counsel, right? That's the old bane of mentorship. So mentorship is you submitting to somebody that has gone ahead of you, not necessarily, because you want to be a makeup artist, it doesn't mean that your mentor should also be a makeup artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean your mentor could be somebody that is advanced in business. There's the business aspect of makeup artistry. Do you understand? And then you could have mentors for different aspects of your life. So depending on what you're looking at, and you see, that's where we again now need to sort of start differentiating between a mentor and a coach. For you to have a coach, I believe you might want to look for some similarity in terms of the
Yeah, what?
results you're trying to achieve, right? To say that, okay, are there semblance of results, yeah, that as this person achieved something in line with what I also want to achieve, right?
Yeah.
And you can do that for maybe coaching, but for mentorship, you can have a mentor you on different aspects of your life, right? You can have your mentor you on your personal life, on your, as regards your business, as regards your relationships and all of that, the same mentor. Do you understand? And that's like somebody that is advanced in knowledge or experience. Do you get? And can just teach you from that point. Do you understand? But for a coach, many times people want to look for
Yeah.
coaches that have like specialties, like specific things that they want
Yeah.
to be coached on, sort of. Yeah. So I think basically that's it. That's what mentorship basically. So your mentor doesn't have to be like a nurse like you, right? And it's just
Yeah.
someone who guides you on the path that you're going on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So um
Yeah.
you've
Thank you.
made you're welcome, and I hope that will also help somebody, somebody listening to this podcast. So yeah, Dasola, it's been awesome having this chat with you.
Limit yourself. Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I
There's
think
so much.
something that
There's
I've
so
picked
much.
out of what you've said so far about this is you're very open and sensitive to God, and you're sold
Mm-hmm.
out to a life of service. So you just want to serve people and make their lives easier, sort of like just serve people, and you're very open to wherever God calls you to. And I think they are very great. They are very great attributes and great things to have as a person. So Dasola, what would be your final word to young people who want to get on this journey to fulfilling purpose?
So I'll first say that don't limit yourself.
Mm,
And like I said earlier, there's so much inside of you. Like there's so much. Tomorrow you can see yourself doing something that you have never done before, and you be like, wow, didn't me doing this? There's so much. Like there's so much God has put inside of you. Just to expatiate on that, Genesis 1, let me be clear. God had to create everything for Adam before he could create Adam and Eve, so that they can, like, so that they don't come into labor. For
mm,
example, now God created the birds in the sea. God said, let there be light, let there be water, let there be everything. Then before he now created man, so that man can know that he has dominion. Man can know that he's supposed to multiply all this. Like God created everything for you so that you can come and walk inside of it. To show you like how much, for God to say that you have dominion, it means that like you embody everything that is about God. Like there's so
mm.
much inside of you. Let me stop there. Like there's so
There
much
is
inside of
so
you.
much
Those
inside
books,
of you. Don't limit yourself. There is so much inside of you. There is so much value. There is so much, there is so much to offer the world, right? Don't limit yourself. You're not without talents, right? You have something to offer the world. You're not empty. You're not ordinary, right? God doesn't create people for creating sake. He has given every one of us work to do. And if if you do the inner work, like I like to say, you would find out what you're here for and what that special gift, that special talent that you have, what it is, and how you can serve the world with it. So, yeah, I hope that today's episode has helped you, on getting on this journey of discovering purpose and also fulfilling purpose in the course of your life. Thank you so much, Dasola Alfred, DA, for joining us today. Thank you for, honoring this call and getting on this episode with us. All right. So our listeners, please have a very fantastic week. And if you have any questions, please send it to our email address. If you have any comments, please drop it in the comment section below. And don't forget that I am very committed to you. And Conversations with Coach IT is here to answer your many questions and just, help you get through the hurdles and the hurdles of life, basically. Thank you and have an amazing week. Bye.